But in our form of government, you don't impeach judges for writing a decision you disagree with.
It's time to fight back, but not quite how you think. As Trump and his whiny little bitches attack our very institutions, the weak, scrotumless, bottom-feeding Fox News and MAGA faithful, they tuck back their tiny junk and timidly follow President Musk and the First Lady. And now they're coming directly for us. So here's the skinny. When I say fight, I don't mean setting cars on fire. If I was going to break the law to get these humps, I wouldn't waste my time on this piece of shit electric car that he didn't even create. No, I'd raise the stakes, but we're not there yet.
In our form of government, unless you are a coward, you don't sue the media because they report on things you don't like.
The irony is Democrats are being led by an 83-year-old man and a 5'5" woman, both of whom are tougher than Trump, Musk, or any of these pathetic children pretending to be hard.
Knock the crap out of them.
Like to punch him in the face.
In the good old days, this doesn't happen because they used to treat them very, very rough. And when they protested once, you know, they would not do it again so easily.
Look, what's happening here is crystal clear. Trump, who engineered a coup that resulted in 100 police officers hospitalized, is saying now he can remove judges who criticize him and possibly jail them too. That he and Musk can imprison media who criticize them and even arrest members of Congress who simply point out the attacks on Tesla are predictable events when you are stripping people of their constitutional rights.
I'm going to try to get through this without crying. My name is Louise, and me and my family own a wheat farm in Kansas. We are all certainly lifelong Republicans, and we were so happy to vote for Trump in all three of his elections. However, we were certainly not aware that he was going to put a funding freeze on all U.S. aid. 100% of our wheat produce is bought by U.S. aid and shipped out of the country. So our farm is completely bankrupt.
And of course, Fox tags along with their made-up bullshit.
So that was where people on the left talking about the threat of domestic terrorism, white nationalism, everything from January 6th. But what about this? You drive in a Tesla car and someone smashes your window. You work in a dealership. They smash the whole fleet. They put them on fire. You charging your car. They're trying to rip the hoses off the charging stations. Finally, they got three defendants will face full force of the law for using Molotov cocktails to fire up Tesla cars and those charging stations. These guys, 5 to 10 years in prison, they should be looking at, and they should be giving up who organized it and who's paying them. And this guy, John Cusack, who's an actor with marginal success, is actually calling on March 29th to be the day to blow up Teslas, and Crockett too. Well, he should be indicted.
Well, there's something different about this moment because Democrats, this is what they do. Radical Democrats, they burn stuff. We saw it in the Summer of Love, but there was no consequences. The local DAs let them right back on the street. There was no prosecution of these folks. Now you got the feds involved, and now these are going to be felonies, federal crimes. The FBI is investigating. The Department of Justice is going to charge them.
A real FBI.
And so now it's going to be consequences. But this is probably the same people from the Summer of Love, but they got away with it. So when you let criminals get away with stuff, they just reoffend.
A jury today found former President Donald Trump liable for sexual abuse.
Well, Donald Trump's in office, and our AG says they're going to go after him. You're talking about Jasmine Crockett. She was saying, it's my birthday on the 29th?
Stupid.
It's my birthday, so go out there and blow up Tesla.
You, Brian Kilmeade, you lying shit stain. Of course, John Cusack or Congressman Crockett never called for anyone to blow up Teslas. But we're just a few steps away from a worst-case scenario where Trump can bully judges and the judiciary system simply by threatening them. And that is what's happening.
We could very well have a sitting president under felony indictment and ultimately a criminal trial.
These people should be indicted. This was the greatest political crime in the history of our country.
20 years in jail, and then maybe they'll go to one of these prisons in El Salvador. Do you think with the way that the judges have been issuing injunctions, it would be easier or harder to send these Tesla domestic terrorists to a jail in El Salvador than these MS-13 or Tren de Aragua guys?
Well, I view these people as terrorists just like others. When I looked at those showrooms burning and those cars, not one or two, like 7, 8, 10 burning, exploding all over the place. These are terrorists. You didn't have that on January 6th, I can tell you. You didn't have anything like that on January 6th.
January 6th, come on, fat boy, we have video. Your terrorists tried to overthrow a democratically run election, and you did it by attacking police and even calling for the death of your vice president, who would not participate in your coup. And then we tiptoed around for 4 years the bullshit of like, oh, should we put a former president in jail? Oh my, oh my. Well, look around. MAGA's ready to arrest voices of dissent, and they're even talking about the death penalty for those who burn Teslas.
Terrorism plus. And I know that on January 20th, the president signed into law, through an executive order, restoring the death penalty.
And now you wonder why there's such a pushback against Senator Schumer? Trump and Musk's money are ready to attack any American who stands up to their insane rhetoric.
He's handed the keys to Elon Musk and is selling this country for parts to the richest people on the planet for a kickback. And in exchange, they will bankroll his campaigns and those of his allies. They scratch his back, he scratches theirs, and the rest of us are left behind.
I'm very rich.
No, we will not accept an authoritarian form of society with a president who undermines the Constitution every day and is working aggressively to take away our freedom of speech and freedom of assembly.
Democrats, for most of my life, have been the party of compassion and the only party that cared for minorities, the poor, LGBT, and basically those without political power. And the only times they've stood up against police was to stop violence, from Vietnam to white cops killing African Americans. I mean, come on, there are Republicans today calling for Trump to pardon Derek Chauvin, the cop who killed George Floyd. This is a world that Trump has created.
White supremacy, that's the problem. This is a hoax.
But underneath all of that was a cancer in our country that Trump released like balloons at a new car dealership.
Fuck these Democrats!
Except inside these balloons were the terrorists from January 6th to the members of Trump's cabinet.
I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops.
We're going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections. We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out. But yeah, we're putting you all on notice.
That hump is running the FBI? Are you serious? Look, the Democrats don't need to burn anything down. In fact, Musk is losing billions through our push to boycott Teslas, and it will burn down on its own. What we need right now, though, is leadership, and the Democrats need to take off the gloves and hit the Republicans where it hurts.
I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States.
As much as I would enjoy that, we have an even more formidable force. There's a new poll, and it shows that Trump has a 13% approval rating for those who didn't vote. Right, which is close to 100 million people, which means there are 87 million people, in addition to Democrats, who see what a disaster Captain Cockwaffle presents.
The Holy Bible and the voices of famed evangelical...
Add to the soup that he's mentally unwell, and what you see is clear. The Democrats need to find people who won't get trapped by conversations about high school trans athletes or these so-called immigrant terrorists. We need to embrace science and logic and apply them to what our nation needs. Tax the rich, not the middle class. Defend the border and defend Hispanics. Protect our air and our water. Defend the defenseless, and maybe most importantly, remember who our friends are.
One of the nastiest countries to deal with is Canada.
We need more people like Bernie and AOC, people who will stand up to Trump, which really isn't that fucking hard. We're the good guys. He's a little bitch.
Goddamn right.
Bloated and fat and disgusting.
I like that.
We're a nation that speaks English.
Look, if something like that thing's ugly.
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
Yes!
Tick-tock!
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.